Welcome to Weeping Willow Homestead. Today I have the last garden tour video for the year for you. And this is actually just to kind of show you what's left at the end of the year and what it looks like, because I really want to document a couple of times through the winter to show you guys what it looks like after the chickens have finished with it. Excuse me, Guinea, hush it. The guineas are really loud. That's the only thing that my husband did not want guineas for, was he's like, oh, they're so loud. And she's just putting up the alarm. She's letting me know that she doesn't like me being around. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you what the garden looks like before and during and after the chickens get done with it. So we are supposed to get below freezing for the first time tonight. And so I wanted to show you kind of what that looked like. And so that you can kind of see as the winter progresses, what the chickens do to the garden and why we put the chickens on the garden. So I have come out here and I went ahead and picked all of the snack peppers that were left that were big enough to warrant picking. They're still green, but just like tomatoes, green tomatoes, they will change inside slowly. So I will let them do that, and then the kids will eat them for lunches. I'll eat them for lunches. I'll make something with some of them, like sides wise. I hope that guinea is not too loud. I'm sorry. Maybe if I back up a little bit, she'll stop shooting the alarm up. But then also, once they're done turning, I can always cut them up and freeze them and use them for like fajitas through this winter. So it is cold out here. It is like only in the 40s today. So, and then like I said, tonight is supposed to be down, I think 28 is the low for tonight, so definitely below freezing. So everything tomorrow will be like dark green to black colored, like all the leaves and everything. So the kitchen garden, I did go ahead and release the chickens 3 days ago onto it, because I figured they don't eat peppers. Chickens don't eat peppers really for the most part. So I knew they weren't going to mess with the peppers. And then whatever cherry tomatoes were left, they're just going to get the ones that are down toward the ground anyway. So that leaves, I'm going to come out and pick what's left up above where they've eaten on. But they have already went through and ate all of the cherry tomatoes that were ripe. So yeah, I'll show you. This was some lettuce coming up, just a small amount, and we had eaten a couple of times off of it, but they went ahead and demolished it. They have also pecked at some of the pepper leaves. This was where I had planted the one variety of green beans that I was saving seed for, and look, they're all like darting underneath those plants. I love watching chickens. It's so fascinating to me. I have already pulled pretty much all of the green beans off of those to save the seed out of them. There's still a few left, so I need to come out and get those. The cherry tomatoes are still, I even still have blooms, look. Like they're still blooming on there. I still had blooms on the peppers as well. So they are, at this point, the tomatoes are taking so long to turn red or to turn color, whether red or yellow, that it's just like it takes them days to turn, whereas before it would be 24 hours and you'd come out and pick more. So they are, after the freeze, you'll see it's amazing the difference. This, you can already see where the chickens have run through here. The zinnias are all just about done. There's a few blooms left, but not a whole lot. This was the zucchini plant that I planted late in hopes that I would get one on, and I'm not going to. I thought about coming out and putting, if I had straw bales, I don't have any right now. If I had straw bales, I would build a square around them, and then you can put a window on top, and it will make a mini greenhouse. But I just don't have straw bales right now, so I'm not going to do it. I was really hoping to get one more, and there are some on it, but they're like this big, so it's done. The freeze, it's done for. The nasturtiums are already starting to die off from the couple of light frosts that we've gotten. This was the radishes and lettuce, and the radishes did go to seed, and so you can see like through there are some radishes, but they never did go ahead and make anything either. And then the coop. So this fence is electrified. It's not right now. We turn it off during the day because it's pretty much, we just run them at night to keep the night critters at bay. And it does work. It works amazingly well. So they will stay on this until the temperatures get really, really cold, to the point where I don't feel comfortable having just this small amount of chickens. I think there's There's supposed to be another one in there as well, but she gets out every year. These are the chickens that habitually get out of the fence and get into my garden throughout the year, which is why they get put in that coop that stays shut all the time. They still have access to grass, and we move it. This whole area is where we move it around in. And so they are on fresh grass, but they are cooped up where they can't get out, because otherwise they get out and get in my garden and eat my vegetables when I want them. So yeah, there's less than 10 hens in there. And because of that, when it gets to getting cold, it will be too cold for them to be in there by themselves without the beneficial heat of the group of chickens. They'll all cuddle up together, but it's still just not quite as much warmth as I would like to have. So once it gets down and is habitually cold at night, like down into the 20s every night, then I will put these guys in with the main flock, and then we just put the coop in the barn for the winter. But that usually gives them enough time to get this garden will be taken down to the ground for the most part. We may have to come out and like pull up the zinnia plants, that kind of thing. But all right, I'm gonna pause this and I'll walk over to the main garden and show you that. Sorry, I was picking up my bucket. I'm gonna, while I'm out there, pick anything that I find out there that needs done. So, all right, hang on just a second. All right, so here's the main garden, and we got the guineas in the background again. There's 2 in one fence and then 1 in the other one, and then one was one that kept getting out. So this end of the garden has gone to weeds. There is nothing growing in here anymore, unless it's by accident. The nasturtiums are still looking beautiful. Because of the weeds, the frost didn't hit them as hard. But more than likely, this is the end of the garden that we will put the chickens on to begin with. Last year we predominantly had them on the other end of the garden because of the cucumber fence. We usually pick one end of the garden because I don't take the cucumber fence down. So they will probably start out on this end of the garden, and that's fine. They will then tear this end down pretty darn quick. So yeah, this was where all of the vining plants were that died, and then this is where the potatoes were. And then also, I need to show you, it's buried in here. We found a huge rock. There it is. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy here. Do you see it? It's huge. And we were digging potatoes and dug a small, like a little bit of it. That thing probably weighs 200 pounds. Dug up just like a small little bit of it. And so one of the boys my oldest boy was like, hey, I'm going to dig this out. And not realizing how big it was. It's huge. It's hilarious. And we haven't figured out what we're doing yet with it, whether we're going to try to pull it up out of there, or whether to just dig the hole deeper and bury it deeper, because it's one of those where you can see nicks on it where we've hit it with the tiller when we till in the spring. So this is the tomato plants. I already came out and pulled off any of the large tomatoes that were large enough that I felt like it warranted pulling off. There's still several small ones on there, but because they're small and very far from ripening, a lot of times they end up going bad before they fully ripen. So those are done. The Wapsinicon, I think that's how you pronounce it, they don't turn well inside. They are a very, very soft, finicky tomato. So we've left them on and they've continued to ripen. There's one right there that's ripe. So I will pick some off of there, but like I said, they just don't ripen inside well. They don't hold up well. I did replant some late cucumbers, but they never made anything. So yeah, they're done. The chickens can fit through the holes in the fence, so we just leave the fence up and let them clear it out. And usually what I do is I will grow cucumbers in this spot 2 years in a row, and then the next year I'll move it down. You really should rotate where you plant things, just because certain things pull different nutrients from the ground. And so you need to rotate it so that you're not pulling like nitrogen from the ground from the same thing over and over and over again. The cosmos have outgrown the garden, which when we put the fence around the garden, it goes outside of the wire electric fence. So we've got this fence that during the summer it keeps possums, raccoons, skunks, those kind of things out of the garden, but it will not keep the chickens out. They climb right over it. Even the goose steps right over it. So when we put the chicken fence around, it actually comes out a few feet out from that fence. So they'll even take some of the grass down to the ground as well, which is kind of nice. On the grass growing underneath the fence isn't quite so bad in the spring then. So the cosmos are still jamming. I may come out and pick a couple of bouquets of those before I let the chickens in here, which we're going to do that next weekend. It's chilly cold today, and so my husband's like, can we wait until next weekend to do that? And I was like, yeah. Other than that, there's a few marigolds still going. Like I said, these nasturtiums, you can see those got hit by the frost worse. There's some marigolds down there. And then under that are the pepper plants. And there's some that I know, these are poblano, which are not a spicy pepper, so I will come out and pick some of those. There were some bell peppers growing, and I've picked most of those. And then there are some, this was one variety that weren't spicy, and then this was another variety that were spicy. I did not care for the taste of the poblanos very much. I know that they are one that you're supposed to dry and deal with dried for making different things. I have no idea what these are. I have no idea. Not a clue. It was those mixed peppers that a friend of mine gave me that she didn't know what they were. So I just planted them and hope for the best. And if I don't end up using anything off of them, it's not that big of a deal. They're going to get taken down by the chickens. The chickens will eat off of them what they want, and then the rest will just get composted into the ground because the chickens will till all of this up. It will, by spring, be pretty much all back to dirt. The cosmos stems, come spring, we'll have to come out and rip those out, but for the most part, they take care of everything. I did not ever get out. I was going to make some corn shocks with these, and I didn't get out here before we got some wind and kind of knocked them down. So I didn't get out and get corn shocks made with those. But that just adds another layer of something for the chickens to hang out in around when there's snowy wind and aerial predators, that kind of thing. So I don't really mind those being left there. Here was green beans, and pretty much all that's left is a beautiful field of dying marigolds. And I know marigolds is something that they feed commercial raised chickens to make their egg yolks look oranger, because people recognize the fact that pasture raised egg yolks are oranger. Ours are like drastically more orange, like bright yellow, that kind of thing, than store-bought. But I don't know whether marigolds is something that chickens choose to eat, or whether it's just something that's ground up and added to their feed. So I don't know. What's left of the green beans will dry, and the chickens will crack open the things and eat the seeds out. So those are done. We also, the boys came out and cut down all of the sunflower stalks to play with, because they're almost like bamboo, just in, they are a hard, like sturdy piece of wood by the time it's done. They're almost like a tree trunk. So they cut down, and like all of the seed heads are still laying there. So if there are any seeds left in the seed's head that the wild birds haven't eaten, the chickens will finish those off. But the biggest thing is that why I wanted to show you this is what the end of the year of the garden looks like. There are weeds. I do my best. Like this area, we got grass clippings laid down, and so it looks great, except for that thing down there. I'm trying to remember what name of it is. I think it's in the geranium family, but I wouldn't swear by that. Or hyacinth family. I don't remember. Anyway, just so that you can see what this looks like at the end of the year. Because yes, by the time the garden is done for the year, I am so knee deep in canning, and we get back into school full time that it goes back to weed. And that's completely and totally fine with me. Like it's just part of it. I would like for it not to, because then it sets off its seeds. But that's one of the benefits of putting the chickens on it during the winter, is they will eat the seeds, they eat the bugs, They till it, they eat anything left vegetables wise that we're not going to, and they take it back down to dirt. And so by the time spring comes around, it's kind of more ready for us. I hope that wind isn't hitting the microphone too bad. The apple trees are done. It's always funny, there's always like a handful of apples that cling on all the way through winter and become like these dried, shriveled up little apples up in there. But other than that, yeah, we're done for the year. So, and I'm totally ready. This is always the time of the year that, yes, I would love to continue getting tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and all of that, but that's why I have put up what I can, and you know, it is what it is. I was also going to ask, would you guys like to see a tour of my canning shelf and maybe the freezer that I have vegetables put in, and I can kind of show you what I can for this year. It's a weird one because of the fact that we go to the food pantry. I know I'm going to get comments on, look at all that food that you have, and how dare you go to the food pantry. I know I'm going to get those comments, but I also recognize the fact that a lot of people realize that the food pantry cannot supply all of our food, and I cannot supply all of our food. It is a combined effort in that, in how we are making ends meet this time of year. So if that's something you would like to see, please let me know, because I would love to show that. I'm always so excited at the end of the year to see my canning shelves refilled, and by the end of the year pretty much empty. So, you know, if that's something that you're interested in seeing, let me know, because I wouldn't mind sharing that one bit. So yeah, all right, I am cold. I'm going to go pick, like I said, the last few tomatoes that I see, and maybe some of those peppers, and then next weekend these guys get it. That's the plan. It's supposed to be warmer next weekend and not wet. It rained all day yesterday, and it's been cold today. So yes, Guinea, I hear you. Aren't they beautiful though? They're such funny looking birds. But, and there's our Roo. Just so you know, the red on his chest that it looks like his feathers have been plucked out, they are getting their winter feathers. So you'll see a bunch of feathers laying like in the yard. And that is, they lose their summer feathers and gain fluffier under feathers, their under coat, if you will, like a cat does, like a dog does. So that's what that is you can actually see his fresh feathers coming in. And he has plucked those out himself. I've watched him do it. They will, if you have too tight of a space or the hierarchy, they will pluck each other's out, but for the most part, that guy did it to himself. And that's our Roo. So yeah, I need a second one. And in fact, next year I really need to replace, we have a lot of hens. See her, how much lighter in color she is. We have a lot of older hens. So that's the goal next year, is to get chicks hatched either on our own or go purchase some from the store. So, all right, well, that is the garden for the year. Sad to see it go, but also ready to be done and have a slightly more restful winter. So, all right, thank you so much for watching this. Let me know, like I said, if you would like to see a pantry tour, because I would be happy to share. So, all right, have a great day. I just realized there's cats too. Have a great day. Goodbye and God bless.